Mike Hill, and I hope you enjoy the following conversation I had with Keith Morris and Dimitri Coates from the band Off. Keith is a one-of-a-kind frontman, and it was an honor to hang with him and listen to him talk. It was a real trip. Dimitri proved to be an awesome guy as well, and had some very interesting insights into the formation of the band and basically where those guys are coming from. On a side note, later that evening I was able to go to the Off show, and they blew my mind. It was everything I'd hoped it would be. An original, severely edited version of this interview appeared on the Brooklyn Vegan website last year. This is the raw, unedited version of our conversation, so enjoy.
Just scoot it, don't lift it.
Alright, let me know if
Don't be a band. Don't strain yourself.
Yeah, man, you gotta not get too strenuous with this stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Gotta act like senior citizens.
Yeah, well, we know better than that.
I'm waiting for my, what are those things? They advertise them on television when you can't walk anymore. Not the weasel, the mom, not a mom.
Just take some glucosamine, man. That's all you gotta do. Get the joint
Yeah,
strength.
little red scooter things with 4 wheels.
Yeah, totally. Those are sketchy looking, man.
Yeah.
So do you guys just fly? Is it a flying show, or are you guys on tour?
Well, we're playing.
Tonight in Europa.
We were originally playing the Europa show,
Right.
and I kept hounding Brady. Dude, we can't come out there just to do a show.
Yeah, sure.
There's too much stuff going on. Get us some other shows. Do some managerial work.
So are you doing some dates around this show?
Well, we're doing Europa tonight.
Right.
We're gonna do AOL live on AOL.
Okay.
As soon as we get through here,
Right.
we're gonna go over there, and then tomorrow is Generation.
Oh, Generation Records.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, that's
And
gonna be
then
nuts. Yeah.
on Saturday we're doing Fader Ford. We're sandwiched in between a couple of gangster rap man.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Gangster rap.
Well, body count,
Yeah, man.
He was a huge fan of Black Flag and the Circle Jerks and
Oh, I know.
all of
man.
that kind of stuff.
I saw Body Count on that first Lollapalooza tour with Rollins bands.
Yeah.
Jane's Addiction. Rollins came out, did Cop Killer.
Yeah, they all kind of fit in.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I was in another band, another semi-popular, what you would call hardcore punk rock band, or softcore or medium-core punk rock band, and we were asked to perform with Run DMC. We want a white punk rock band to play with us. And so the promoter said, well, who would you like? And they gave them a list. We were on the list. And so they asked us to play. And it would have been a really big show for us. It would have been like 5,000 people.
Right.
But the night before they played at the Long Beach Arena, and a fight broke out in the middle of the floor, and there were like 500 injuries. And out of the 500 injuries, like a bunch of people got hospitalized.
Right. Serious injuries.
So the promoter said, we can't do that. There's not enough insurance in the world to cover that. That would ruin my promoting life.
Well, back then I remember Run DMC, Public Enemy, all that stuff. That was like kind of the beginning of like that whole trip, you know what I mean? And
Well, even before that was Grandmaster Flash.
Derek B and Raheem, all that kind of stuff. But that was like the first kind of commercial like influx of like, hard rap or whatever,
So that was getting back to the show on Saturday night at the Fader Ford. We're playing with a couple of gangster rap groups. I know nothing about them because I'm not really that familiar with that world.
Yeah, like the last like real hip hop stuff I was into is like maybe you know, the Wu-Tang Clan and like Cool Keith and stuff like that from like the late 90s.
Oh, I love Cool Keith. He's a freak.
Yeah, totally, man.
No, the Red Hot Chili Peppers had him on some shows with them.
Okay.
And his rider was individual barbecued chicken wings wrapped in like baggy sandwich bags, you know, Ziploc, because he was going to throw them out to the audience. And what had happened was one of his shows, he did that, and the fans took them out of the Ziploc bags and threw them back on stage. So now all of a sudden you've got equipment with all
Yeah,
this.
it's like grease all over it.
Yeah, and the
There's
stage is
barbecue
all
sauce.
like they didn't have like Lysol.
Yeah, it's all to disinfect the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cool
So the
Keith.
Chili Peppers said, no, you don't get to do that. You can do just about all of the other stuff you want to do, but you don't get to do that. Our crew is not capable of coming in and
Disinfecting the whole scene out there.
sandblasting the stage.
Yeah, Cool Keith, and before he had that, the Ultramagnetic MCs, that was like his crew before he was solo. You should check that out, man. That's like some good stuff.
Well, see, Cool Keith equated himself to Elvis Presley.
Yeah,
Like
Black
I'm the Black Elvis, yeah. Which I like. I get a kick out of that because that shit's like, okay, so this is a guy that could not only because of the genre that he's performing and writing, not only open for, say, the Beastie Boys or the Red Hot Chili Peppers or Faith No More, but he could also take it a step further and open for the Butthole Surfers, open for the Flaming Lips.
Yeah, anything that's kind of like out there, like go take a
Like,
chance.
okay, who put the acid in the fucking Jerry curl?
Yeah, I see you have a Gun Club T-shirt on your big.
I not only do I have a Gun Club T-shirt on, we actually have a song
Yeah,
in our
Jeffrey Lee Pierce.
set,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Jeffrey Lee Pierce is. Not only is he one of my heroes and he's totally inspirational to me, but he was also my roommate, and at one time he was my best friend.
Really, I didn't realize.
And before he died, I got to watch him deteriorate, and it was just, it was brutal.
I've been trying to find that book, the lyric book that came out on 213. That's Mike.
Dimitri.
Nice to meet you.
So
That's
It's like long out of print.
that's the Go Tell the Man.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that on eBay. It's like $150, $200. You know, it's like it's a
I
pretty.
would think that you could get a hold of Hank and he'd send you one.
I tried, but no dice. You know, I guess apparently he's got some copies on his own, but you know, I haven't been able to get any response as far as getting Go Tell the Mountain. But yeah, I mean, it's on my on my hit list of things I want to get is that book because I love his lyrics.
Maybe what you could do is you could write me,
Okay.
and I could go to his sister. Maybe she was given a couple of dozen, and there's that
I would
possibility.
appreciate that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I only have like 30 minutes with you guys, so I guess maybe we'll just kind of get into this whole thing.
What, you only have 30 minutes because they told you that you have 30 minutes?
Yeah, I was told I got 30 minutes. So I mean,
This isn't like prison. This isn't jail.
Okay.
We're not on like.
some
Any-
intense like timetable, you know.
Oh
like-
no! Now we only have 29 minutes and
Yeah, we're
14
29.
seconds.
We're 22 minutes of counting right now.
My hemorrhoids. I'm squeezing on them.
But yeah, the Gun Club stuff, man. I got it. The first Gun Club record I checked out was Las Vegas Story, and then that's back in the late '80s. I got into that, and then like from then on, I was like, it got its hooks in me, and got the whole catalog. Even like
While we were writing songs, I had bits and pieces of songs that I had started to write with other people, and getting back to Jeffrey Lee Pierce and watching him deteriorate. One of the last things we were going to do, we were going to put together a band, and he started playing me this music, and I taped it on one of those little micro cassettes.
Right.
And the song, he was like, Keith, you're going to have to write about Deborah Harry, because he was president of the Blonde.
Oh yeah, I read that somewhere.
And
Actually, yeah.
you know, I like Blondie, but
Sure, man.
I like the Ramones better, or the Dictators.
Or
You know,
Television.
out of that group of New York bands, when
Yeah.
all of those bands came up.
Television, you know.
Yeah, I like those bands better than Blondie, even though I do like Blonde.
Yeah, Blondie, you know, it's a little kind of bubblegum for me too. You know, I like a little bit more like the television stuff. But I gotta tell you the truth, honestly, for me, it wasn't really about the New York scene, even though like I grew up in the New York area. But it was more the California bands that really kind of did it for me, like, you know, Black Flag, the Ramones, I'm not the Ramones, Black Flag, Descendants, St. Vitus, even though they were, you know, winos from out here in Maryland, but you know, Sack and Trust, you know, Descendants, you know, that sort of trip was more what reached me.
So you were kind of brainwashed on the SST tip.
The whole SST catalog was like, pretty much if it came out on SST, I picked it up. You know, Slovenly, like anything that Greg Ginn did, you know, all that sort of stuff was like, early on in my life was like really important to me, you know, developing as like a young punk or whatever. You know, even musically, like as an inspiration, you know, especially Greg Ginn's guitar playing was like next level. Because, you know, prior to that, I was listening to like Agnostic Front, you know, the Cro-Mags, you know, metal like Sabbath, you know, and like Metallica, you know, Slayer, stuff like that. But then when I heard like the Greg Ginn style of playing, it just blew my mind because he was on reaching for some other thing which hadn't really been discovered yet, you know, to me at least.
Like kind of like a metal-free jazz.
Yeah, like Ornette Coleman meets like Kerry King and like
Yeah.
Tony Iommi or something like that. You
Yeah.
know, especially like on the slower like Black Flag stuff, you can hear strains of like the first Sabbath record and like you know, Master of Reality like peeking in there along with like the twisted John Coltrane like horn parts sort of translated into guitar lines. You know what I mean? And it was like real. That's kind of like opened my mind to a lot of different things, like when I was like a young, you know, 16, 17-year-old kid, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, it was pretty inspirational, you know, and especially like, you know, that transitional period between like, you know, personally for me, the later stuff musically was what grabbed me, but you know, the energy of like the earlier EP, you know, the first EP, like Nervous Breakdown, but then slamming from that into like the later, more experimental stuff, like the whole body of work that Black Flag put out pretty much covered like the entire gamut of what you can do with like extreme music, you know. I mean, in my opinion, you know.
Well, he's the guitar player, and all of a sudden it seems like rather than talking to Brooklyn Vegan, we're talking to like Guitar Player Magazine. So I think that it's like Dimitri's turned it. But I want to get back to the Jeffrey Lee
Yeah,
Pierce
man,
story. We were going to start a band. One of the riffs, the main riff to the Jeffrey Lee Pierce song, the eulogy, was the last thing that he ever played for me, and I recorded that.
Right.
And there's more to the song that we didn't use because it started to get a little bit more like brighter and chirpier, and you know, we're trying to like stay into this dark area.
Right. So how did the band form?
He's the instigator.
Okay. So Dimitri's your fault for all this.
Well, we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And I sort of got the feeling that the Circle Jerks were either going to break up or make another record.
Right.
So I encouraged Keith to make a record. If you know, maybe they would consider me as a producer, and
Okay.
they went for it initially. And to make a long story short, Keith and I would write songs together because those guys don't really get along often when they're all in the same room together, and people stop showing up to write. So we started writing.
Okay.
And that record fell apart. But during our process together, we realized that the stuff that we were doing was pretty badass. And Keith mentioned one day, you know, this stuff that we do together is more like my first band. It's heading into just a more brutal direction.
More like your first band, or more like Keith? Okay,
Black Flag.
Okay, more like a Black Flag kind of
See,
vibe. Yeah.
Dimitri doesn't come from where I come from.
Yeah, the Burning Bright.
And
that's like
he took me back to, you know, we had a record company, a main guy at a record company say, I'm going to tell you the same thing that Rick Rubin told Metallica. You got to go back to your very first stuff, and then you come back to me and play me some songs. So Metallica went to Europe, did their entire first album, played a few of their newer hits, came back with a bunch of songs, and went to their producer. That was their process. We had another record company executive say, you need to go back to where you came from, where you started. Basically what he was saying is, you got to stop being a bunch of tired old men and having this mentality that you can just write whatever you want to write and get away with it, and people will love it because you are who you are. And you know, it'll be like the circus. There'll be lions leaping through flaming hoops, and you know, the lion will sit up and growl, and you can put your head in the lion's mouth, and here come the elephants, and you know, all of that wonderful crap. But if the mentality is not there, the energy's not there, the vibe's not there, all of the weird, wacky, goofy, crappy, shitty events that happen in your life aren't there, you know, like you're living a happy life, or you know, you're struggling, and the struggle is not coming through in the material that you're writing. It's like if you're not reaching for something, you're not gonna grab it.
yeah, because I mean nowadays
There's too much posturing behind a bunch of this crap.
especially with all the reunions that are happening these days. You know, as far as like reunions go.
Thank you so much. Sure.
You know, it feels very, when you listen to a reunion of an older band, it just seems very, very forced and very, like, you know, false in a lot of ways. But when I listen to this, you know, the 16 tracks that are on this collection of songs, like, it sounds like, you know, like a very vital.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
It is partly because I don't come from the same place that, you know, I mean, look, here's the thing I've learned. Even though I didn't grow up going to hardcore shows, my record collection and his record collection and Mike Watt's record collection are virtually identical for the most part when you get down to the real core of what we love about rock music. And so my influences are the same influences that these guys had when they were inventing that stuff. So for me to come in late into the game and just change my style of playing to excite him and also to excite myself, you know. I mean, look, I'm used to having a lot of different colors to work with when I'm writing
He left
songs.
out two other guys, and then he also left out all of the people that are listening to it. See, what's great about my feeling towards this is there's an energy that's crept back up in this. It's not prevalent amongst the guys that we were working with before. Were all of just these. They had this mental thing where we can just write whatever we want and people are gonna like it. It's like, what the fuck is up with that? Are you kidding?
Well, that leads back to what I was saying about all these reunions that seem to be going on. I mean, it's like, this is a new band, you know what I mean? And it's like, when I listen to the record, it sounds like a new band. It doesn't sound like a bunch of veterans getting together and trying to write something that sounds like it came out.
It's the sound of two friends that would have been hanging out anyway, and he's basically saying to me, "Hey, I've always loved your guitar playing in your band, but now you're coming into my world, and you know, it's sort of like you only get these colors to work with, these parameters. It's almost like." You know, people think like punk rock, oh yeah, you can just whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. But it's actually very strict, and there's certain things that you can and can't do.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's like, you know, I'm kind of going backwards. You know, a lot of people my age came from punk rock, and they develop into something more like my first band.
Right.
And
well, the thing is though that.
But I've toured with, you know, I'm open for my other band opened for the Dictators. We went on tour with Mike Watt. Right. We opened for the New York Dolls. You know, it's just about good songwriting. People like good songs.
Well, what you said earlier, I think to me is like what's wrong with like quote unquote punk rock is that it's a very like originally what it should be about is just expressing yourself, period. But what it has become is like a very narrow set of parameters that you have to
Closed-minded and
you got to adhere
beyond
to
the
the
lines.
formula. But like for me, like to listen to a punk rock band, like to me, like I named all these other bands like Sack and Trust and whatever, St. Vitus. It's like none of them sound the same. And when I approach the off record, to me, it's like I want to put a record on, and it sounds like something that's very vital. It doesn't sound like a rehashed sort of like you were saying, two friends getting together creating music.
Well, one of the best compliments we got paid was we played a series of shows at the South by Southwest. Those were the first shows that we played. And after we played our second show, which was the show that Brady was at,
Right. Okay.
you know, he's the guy that's responsible
Yeah.
for this
Yeah,
thing that we're doing right now. People were like, "Oh my God, what is this? There's nothing like this going on right now." Jesus. Jay Mascis standing right in front the whole time. His mouth was just like, his mouth was open like, you know, I play in some punk rock bands. I play in a punk rock band with Thurston Moore where we play a bunch of covers. But obviously because he didn't know how to describe. I'd overheard somebody asking him, so, Jay, what did you think of the show? And it was like, he was just like,
Well, see
like
tonight.
gasping for air. But I'd overheard a woman saying it sounded like a Black Flag cover band. And I thought, yes, that's excellent. Right on. Good for you. I couldn't pay you enough money to say something like that.
See, but I feel like that even saying
See,
that.
because what I'm actually setting out to do is I'm really trying to mimic Henry, because he's like my favorite Black Flag vocalist. Except he's my favorite Black Flag vocalist, except for Ron Reyes, who I think is better than Henry. But I think Dez is better than Ron. And I think Henry is better than Dez, and I know that all three of them are just as good as me, if not better. But I still know that I'm as good, if not better than them.
Well, I got a chance to see you and Rollins play together on the same stage, like what was that, 6 years ago, on that.
That was the West Memphis 3 benefit.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that was like very, like definitely a definite different shade of the same sort of vibration. You know what I mean? It's like, Rollins' energy is way different. Your energy is way different, but the two songs are like equal, though. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? Like the material in the beginning of the set equally as powerful as the material in the second part of the set, but just different. You know what I mean? And it's just like
No, all three of those guys are my favorite Black Flag vocalists.
Yeah, I've never seen Reyes perform, and I've seen Dez perform, later on in the game with the Misfits sort of stuff.
You know what's great about his era of Black Flag is you can dance to it. It's fun. It's like a party.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, fun. Maybe, I don't know. Like that's not really what I got.
Just musically.
Yeah, musically, yeah. Yeah. But so as far as like this is my first experience seeing you guys play live. The only thing I've seen is like videos, like YouTube videos and stuff like that. And they've only been a limited how many shows total? Like 5, something like that.
Nah, more like 10 or
10,
12.
10 shows.
We're not at 12.
We're not?
No.
10.
But this, on the East Coast though, this is kind of the first.
This is it.
run. This is it. So I haven't had an opportunity to see you guys play that.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8. We're only, dude, we're probably not even at 10.
Really?
Somewhere between 8 and 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But as far as like, when you guys play live, do you hit that zone of like a band that is like performing? I mean, I know both of you know what I'm talking about. As far as like, you're
You're talking
you're
about
in that
Michael
energy.
Jordan, you're talking about Larry Bird, you're talking about
Like, is
Magic
that
Johnson,
the feeling?
Michael
that you
Jordan.
get when you
Well, I mean,
perform, or-
I can only speak for myself by saying that when I approach this band, I approach it from a physical place. So,
So you're talking about the Twilight Zone.
it's like from going to 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and the music music dictates a certain physicality, a certain attitude, a certain commitment to the moment, or you're gonna fuck up.
Yeah. But it's
So-
more about the energy and like
Yeah.
being honest.
I mean, we're. It sounded and felt like that the first time we ever played in a room together. It really hasn't. You know, it's obviously evolved into like now we know each other. We've had these experiences, but first time we ever played together, it was just explosive, and it's the songs are good enough to where you can just go on autopilot and just get into it.
So, all right, the core of the band is you know Keith and Dimitri, you two guys. Okay. Now, how did the other two members of the band get drafted into this whole you know scenario?
We have a friend who is a promoter in LA and also promotes some stuff elsewhere. And he did an Earthless show. Our drummer Mario plays in this band. They're basically a heavy jam band.
I saw them last night at the Mercury Lounge.
Oh, okay. Earthless.
And Mario had played in Rocket from the Crypt. He played in Hot Snakes.
Click-a-tatty.
He played Click-a-Tatty Katawi 411. So part of his world is part of my world, and another part of his world is part of Dimitri's world. So now all of a sudden, all of our worlds are coming together. But he did an Earthless show, and I was going to go, but for some reason, being a diabetic, maybe I'd suffered hypoglycemia and I couldn't go. And I told my friend, the promoter, to just let Mario know I said, pass on my phone number to Mario and have Mario call me. And Mario called me a couple of days later, and we had about maybe a 15-minute discussion. He said, Keith, I will drive the 150, 175 miles every night to play with you guys. You know, I heard that you and Dimitri are putting together a band. He played with Dimitri in the Burning Brides.
We were on
I didn't
tour.
realize
We were on tour with Queens of the Stone Age, and there was these few shows that our drummer had like some kind of a family thing or whatever. Couldn't do part of the tour, so I brought in Mario. He was always one of my favorite drummers. So he was definitely. We agreed that was like that was really our first.
You know, we
choice.
had a plan B out of Los Feliz, California, knowing that the band that we were trying to record an album with, we weren't going to record an album with because they would do everything that was in their capabilities to just fucking sabotage it and ruin it. So our plan B was, one day he said, Keith, just compile a list of people that you would play in a band.
Oh, I see, okay.
So we had our drum list, drummers, and we had our bassists. Our number one drummer was Mario.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Mario's playing in Rocket from the Crypt. And I'd seen him play in Earthless once. And then on our bassist list was Stephen McDonald, who I've known Stephen since he was 11 years old. He was a big fan of Black Flag, and we'd done shows together. The other band that I was in that we were working on, our guitar player was one of the guitar players in Red Cross.
Cross, right, yeah.
So it just, there was
There's a
a
synergy there with you guys.
a familiarity.
Yeah,
there.
familiarity. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
like a comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I'd seen Stephen playing. He's just just a rock solid bass player, and it's not about, hey, look at me and look at all of the notes that I can play.
Yeah, he just locks in
Yeah.
the drums and
So the guitar player's going boom, 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 and so on the bass I could go boodly, 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 boodly. None of that crap.
Yeah.
Stephen was at the top of the list. Mario called me, said that he was in. I saw Stephen at a Jay Reatard show. And Stephen's standing there with a couple of his friends backstage, and I go, Stephen, I'm putting together a band. Would you be interested in playing the band? Let me tell you who's playing in the band. Dimitri, you've seen the Burning Brides. You're familiar with the Burning Brides. And he was shaking his head. He was somewhat into it.
Okay.
Then I said, we have Mario Rubalcaba, who played in Rocket from the Crypt, and I was getting ready to, go down his roster of all of the
Yeah.
bands that he played in, and the two guys that were standing there with him, just when I said Mario Rubalcaba and Rocket from the Crypt, I didn't have to say anything else because then they rattled off Hot Snakes and Click Daddy Katawi and 411, and they were like shaking him, like, no, you're gonna play in this band. They were like getting physical with him, like, no, you are gonna play with these guys. Because they knew what was going on. It was just based on Mario alone.
So that was kind of like the linchpin again.
Yeah. So Steven perked up and became interested, and I said, "Look, I'll give you a 3-song CD of Dimitri just jamming through on this plastic guitar in my living room through a little Marshall practice amp." And I didn't have the CD with me at the time. I just said, "I'll give you a call." Well, what happened was about a week and a half later, I'm standing at this place called the Center for the Arts, Eagle Rock, and I'm watching this band called Entrance. And all of a sudden I look to my right and Steven's standing there next to me, and he's bobbing his head, and he looks down at me and he said, this would be an amazing room to just pull up a mobile unit or bring in some recording gear. We could record a live album here. It would be amazing. So we started chatting, and then he said he needed to take a cig break. He went outside. I followed him out there, and I said, "Look, I'm going to go to my car. I'm going to bring you the CD." So I gave him the CD, and I said, "Just get back to me. You got my phone number." He called me back 2 days later, and he said, "Keith, when do we start rehearsing?" And our first rehearsal, I wasn't like super excited about it like Dimitri was, because there was a bit of heaviness to it, and I was thinking, man, it's like it's got to be more aggro. And I listened to the rehearsal CD and realized that I'm playing with like some amazing players, and it's not going to be a situation where I get to be the dictator and say, no, you need to play this, you need to play that, and it's like, these guys are too good. You don't, it's like nobody told Picasso what to paint.
Yeah, just kind of vibed on their own sort of trip, And
nobody stood over Salvador Dali and said, look, man, you need to toss some red in there.
Yeah, the one of the other things that we talked about earlier was like, a punk rock band, and like this first rehearsal scenario, and people, being good enough musicians to like carry their own weight, and like the commonality of like not necessarily everyone being like in having a background in being in like a a punk rock band. You know what I mean? Like Click a Tad is not like a punk band.
No, they're math. No,
they're
that's
more like,
all math.
Yeah, they're more like the birthday party or like something like with that kind of vibe to it, And Burning Brides are not, they're not like a typical punk band, but it's like you're not a punk band at all. I mean, you're a rock band, But it's like, but the fact of the matter is that everyone probably has this like you were saying, record collections. Like you probably have some like Captain Beefheart records, some Sabbath records.
All of it.
You
I don't know, like you mentioned Wino. I've toured with Wino.
Yeah.
I've toured with Mastodon. I come from more of like a hard rock, borderline metal background. So all these different ingredients, come together to form off, and that's why it's so interesting. Because we're all focused on hitting a particular bullseye, which is like black and white.
Right.
And it's
See, I find that is what I find interesting about the band, is that it's not just like guys who all have been in bands that sound this certain way. You know what I mean? That everyone's coming from sort of a different background, and there is like a focus to sound a certain way, possibly, or not necessarily to sound a certain way, but to have a certain emotional statement. And you guys focus on that, and you bring sort of all of your different backgrounds in, and then like the point that you all converge at is like what the band sounds like, I think.
Yeah.
I mean that's what I get out of it.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, So, so you guys gonna be touring or in the future? Is there?
Well, we hope so. See, the situation with the band is that there are 3 dads in the band.
Oh, okay.
And I am not pro deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. It's like all of the little kids come first.
We're definitely going to tour. There's no doubt about it. There's too much excitement in the air. The reaction has been too great for us not to take advantage of all the opportunities that are coming our way. We're definitely going to tour. We're already, talking to bands like Fucked Up about what are we doing next year. We're going to go to Europe. We're going to do. He's never been to Japan or Australia. He's never experienced, some of the things that he should have experienced. So we're gonna do that in this band. If a bigger band asks us to open up and play hockey arenas and they're good,
Right.
we're gonna do it.
And we like them.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being, it's not like if, say for example.
I mean, it's cool if they like us, because there are a lot of bands that are like they're not critical darlings, and maybe they don't sell a lot of records, but like big bands like certain bands that A perfect example of that would have been the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers play at the LA Sports Arena, and the opening band was Pearl Jam. The middle slot band was Nirvana, and both of those bands went on to become ultra mega bands. And that's all fine and fantastic. That would be wonderful. Obviously, the people that were in the building when the Red Hot Chili Peppers invited everybody to come in, and all of the bands that played with them paid attention to the opening bands. But usually that's not the case.
Yeah, usually people show up late and don't really.
Or they're there just to see the headlining band.
Like we're gonna take advantage of certain situations, but also we skate this line between, hey, there are these opportunities over here, but over here in our backyard, we book our own shows in LA. Nobody comes near us. We have a booking agent, we have a manager, but we do all that stuff on our own. We play parties, we book warehouse spaces, places where friends live. We don't go to normal venues. But, we have to look out for ourselves, and we don't want to be dishwashers when we're not doing this.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. But you still want to maintain control.
It's cooler to bust tables than wash dishes.
But there's a desire to maintain control over the types of things.
Well,
Yes.
here's another part of our scenario. We had the opportunity to sign with one of the biggest punk rock labels, and we talked to him, and everything was kosher. And up to a certain point, when one of the guys said something that was not kosher, not in my world, not where I come from, because where I come from, all of that stuff is going to be available anyways.
What was this
The
particular
pastrami and the corned beef and the chopped liver and the tongue, that's all going to be available. I want some kreplach, I want some coleslaw.
What the hell's kreplach?
The scenario,
Food.
the scenario was that we looked at each other and said, you know what? Let's see what else is out there. So one of the members of our band, who is very close to one of the main guys at one of the record companies out here, and they're not really a record company, they're more like media and marketing.
Advice,
Yeah.
the publishing.
The first thing that came out of the gal's mouth was just like, are you kidding? This is amazing. We're being brought into another world that we're not a part of. So it's like, now we've got to show up to the party, and we got to make some friends. We got to blow some fucking minds. We got to fucking kick in some doors. We got to do some stuff that we would not normally do.
If you go over to his house, right, the last thing he's going to be listening to is punk rock music. He's got his ear to the ground. He knows about all the new bands. We want to play with bands like
Deer Hunter.
Yeah. Like
Neon Indian.
Sonic Youth. We kind of want to play against our strengths.
Yeah, that's actually the only way, I mean, you grow is when you're out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? It's just like, physical training or something like that, or any kind of intellectual pursuit where you're like, if you stay within your knowns, you don't really ever expand. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to do something that's out of the ordinary and not be comfortable as a band is probably the only way you're going to ever really grow.
And it's funny because like we're hearing about these bands that have nothing to do with the kind of music we play, who are fans, and in this day and age, I know Fucked Up, for instance, is going on tour or is on tour with Arcade Fire, and we're hearing about bands like Band of Horses and also Ryan Adams, who's a friend of Keith's. They like love us. Now it doesn't mean we're going to go on tour with Band of Horses, but
or Ryan Adams and whatever band he puts together.
Right.
But you never know. I mean, if they come through and we have an opportunity to play the Hollywood Bowl opening for Band of Horses, why the fuck not? Who cares?
Sure. Yeah, totally.
Well, the only people that would care would be the people out there that have that costume.
Yeah.
That Sid Vicious costume.
Yeah. Yeah, they stay with it, and they stay very firmly entrenched in their comfort zone.
Yeah, it's for us and it's not for anybody else. And I'm sick and fucking tired of that.
Keith won't even let us say that we're a punk band or that we're a hardcore band. He won't allow that.
We sound like that. I'm not punk rock just because I pissed off of I wanted to piss off the Empire State Building and yell rain at the people below. I mean, that doesn't make me punk rock. That makes me stupid, That makes me a smart aleck and a smart ass. But it's just we have so many things that we can do. It's like this thing that we're doing right now it's just the start. It's like, let's just get all of this crap out of our system.
So, future records might sound completely different then, which is, or not completely different, but like it would be like maybe a natural progression musically, since you guys are just about expression and sort of emotional release. You know what I'm saying?
Well, at the same time, there is a groove that we've carved out for ourselves, and if the marble doesn't go down that groove, it doesn't make it into the cut. You know what I mean? Right. I could sit there.
The bowling ball goes into the side gutter and doesn't hit any of the pins.
We usually write everything in front of each other. I pick up the guitar and I start hammering away on the guitar in his living room or wherever we are until he gets excited.
No butterfly. I had to tell him to leave the butterfly at home. Now you know what the butterfly is.
No, I have no idea.
It's when you hear these speed metal bands and you going, wow, that guy is playing so fast. It's like, oh geez, how does anybody else keep up with? Oh fuck, man, my mind it's gonna blow up. Oh Jesus, coming up in the speakers. He's playing a butterfly. He's not doing a downstroke.
Ah, I got you.
Yeah, the butterfly is the picking up and down. It's like a folky kind of thing. I'm waiting for. So where do all the flowers grow? Oh, there's the little stream. Oh, the little doe and deer, they're skipping. There's the naked children dancing on the side of the hill. Got to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony.
So it's about that downstroke then.
It's about the downstroke. It's an attack. It's an approach. It's an aggro. Like, here we come.
Well, yeah, the downstroke is more like the stabbing motion of a knife, sort of.
Yeah, but we're not trying to stab anybody. Poke out a few eyes maybe, or make some eardrums bleed a little bit, but no stabbing anybody. Leave that to the guys that have the knives and the mafia guys and all the bad guys.
It's funny though, even though we're older and a little bit more wise, we still have there's a lot of aggression and a lot of anger that we still have inside of us that we express to each other on a daily basis, walking down the street, So yeah, we do everything in front of each other. He writes the lyrics in front of me. I play the guitar in front of him, and it's very much a collaboration. And we just don't let each other get off track. We just seem to know what this is supposed to be.
So the the involvement of Raymond Pettibone, like just kind of like pulling back to that first, Sixth Street, the first show, that warehouse show out in LA. That was like an art sort of.
Well, that was Raymond Pettibone, and
Yeah.
the space is set up to be an art space,
Right.
and he occasionally has like a skate event because he's got a ramp in the warehouse,
Right.
and he throws a party every now and then where there's musical entertainment. I've seen some amazing bands in that space: the Melvins, Crystal Antlers, Lightning Bolt.
I read somewhere that you're stating that Raymond Pettibone was like a fifth member of the band. So is he sort of going to be contributing like a visual component like throughout, like for future
Well, we
works?
wanted him to come along with us and play tambourine.
He's,
And also what we could do, because not only is he like the world's greatest tambourine player, but he could bring maracas along. He's easily the world's greatest maraca player. He has that rhythm. He's got that vibe.
Well, he plays bass, too.
Raymond and I go back to Hermosa Beach
Yeah.
in the very, very beginning of Black Flag. And he was there in the beginning. Occasionally, before we had like a rhythm section, he would be part of the rhythm section, trying to keep up on bass. And he's a part of our scene because he feels the vibe. He sees and hears and feels what's going on.
Well, that was one of the things, like when you were saying earlier how going back to sort of like a Black Flag vibe. Like to me, when I first heard Black Flag, the imagery and the music were like almost inseparable. It's like when I listen to Black Flag, the imagery that Raymond Pettibone's artwork had fit so perfectly with the music. And when I listen to the Off record, and I only have that one image because I don't even have like the full version of the record. I just have like that cover.
Did you get the EP?
They sent me a download of it. I don't have like an actual tactile like copy of it yet.
Because there's a poster included in the EP.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna try to pick that up at some point, like maybe tonight or whatever. If you guys have merch, available or whatever. But like the starkness of like those pencil drawings and like the music together. It's like once again has that same sort of like visual like audio component. And I wonder if that's going to be something you're going to carry on, like with future records.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a box set coming out end of November.
Okay.
It's going to have all 4 of the EPs in a 12-page booklet.
Oh,
All of it's Pettibone.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was a guy that I had no history with him. I met him obviously through Keith, and I was a little bit intimidated. He's a legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then very quickly I realized like how cool he was and how supportive he was, and also I think a little bit there was like a mutual inspiration going back and forth between what he's done his whole life and what we're now doing, and it's just like this full circle thing where he came to our first show and did that installation for us, and afterwards he said, a lot of people are coming up to me saying this, I haven't felt this way in 20 years, this feels like what it used to feel like at a Black Flag show, and he's like, I agree. So to have him say that, and to have him, tell me that he really digs my guitar playing or whatever, it's just like, for me, it's, I've been given the keys to a castle that I really have, prior to this point, no business in entering. And so I feel like I'm 18. I feel like I'm experiencing something I should have
feels like he's 18 and he's dragging some of us older guys along with him. And we can't keep pace. Like our record company, the way I describe our record company was they had us leaping through flaming hoops and doing stuff that they obviously thought that we were the Black Lips. Like, we're a bunch of younger guys that can go out and party all night and try to get laid and do long lines of blow. And drink half a keg and wake up at 6 in the morning and get up and do all of it all over again. But all of that stuff catches up to you. And I felt that we did about 6 months worth of work in 4 weeks.
And that's why it came out so good. That's why.
No, overanalyzing stuff. And
No, I just think that he and I work. I mean, I think he's gonna hate that I say this, but I think he and I work really well.
See, this is the part when the guy brings out the knife, that downstroke.
One of the things, like when I mentioned I got the download of the record, like the press guy or whatever sent that to me.
You have 45 capabilities?
Oh, dude, I have the whole kit, man. 78s, 45s, 33,
Okay.
third. I got
Well,
the
we're going to
whole-
make sure that you can
Yeah, see, I'm-
you can reenact that scene from, what was that movie with Tom Cruise where he's dancing around in his
Oh,
white
you
shirt
mean
and underwear?
risky business, man.
Yeah.
My apartment's not big enough for that.
Okay.
Are you? I overheard Brooklyn vegan. Is that what this is for?
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Okay, because I didn't even.
And neither of us are vegan, and we don't live in
Neither am I.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, I live in Brooklyn, but I'm not vegan, so I don't know where the name of that sort of organization came from.
I've got to become vegan because of my diabetes, and I'm having a hard time keeping control of it.
Right back.
I have like really great days and amazing days, and then I have that one really shitty day where I could have hypoglycemia twice in one day. And when I left the first time when I left the hospital, when I found out I was a diabetic, they said one of the worst things that can happen to you on a health level is hypoglycemia. What we do is we have a list of all of the things that can happen to you, and you have heart attack, you have stroke, and then you have hypoglycemia. And I'm like, well, that's really great news. And it's like whenever I get hypoglycemia, it's like somebody sticks some industrial size vacuum, like they're gonna vacuum out some big huge garage warehouse space, and it's like hook it up to me and just suck everything right out of me. So I gotta become a vegan.
Really?
Yeah, I was hanging out with John Joseph from the Chromax, and he's on this diet that he's preparing to do a triathlon, and it was
Yes.
like, I was never a big fan of the New York punk rock hardcore scene.
Me neither.
But we played with the Chromax the other night, and they were fucking amazing. Like, dude, why haven't you? We played with Warzone and we played with Murphy's Law, and I love all of those guys, and I love their music, but it's not like what it. When I first started listening to punk rock in LA, when we had the Bags and the Dills and the Zeros and X and Fear and. Oh man, the list goes on. The Controllers and the Dickies and all of the bands, they all had this, each band had their own like complete different personality. The Plugs who like lean towards like doing a cover of La Bamba,
Yeah, actually I have a few of the records, the Plugs records.
So I never paid attention. This was not stuff that was part of my musical vocabulary. And the Bad Brains, of course. How could you not? And the Misfits. You've got to have all of that stuff.
Two of my favorites.
But I think that's probably the top five. Two of the top five for most people. I think Misfits, Bad Brains. I mean,
Well, what about the Beatles and the Rolling Stones?
See, I hate
the Kinks and the Who.
I don't like the Beatles. I like the Rolling Stones.
But why do you have to hate the Beatles and like the Stones?
Well, all right, you don't have to, but I particularly
There's
like.
nothing to hate about the Beatles.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, I can go on and on and on about why I dislike the Beatles.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
I very rarely meet somebody that actually dislikes
The
them.
only era of their musical catalog I appreciate is the psychedelic sort of stuff they did.
You don't think that their Helter Skelter is as good as Gimme Shelter or...
I'm not a fan, honestly.
You know what though? Their early stuff.
That's their worst stuff.
Yeah,
The
that
best
is-
period is their psychedelic period.
Yeah, and even that, there's something about the McCartney Lennon vocal thing that I just never grabbed me. You know what I mean?
They were kind of punk rock for their time. Like that early stuff when they first came out.
Yeah.
It just.
Also,
that's
they're
the
just
way
too
it is.
British for me, man. Like I like the Doors. You know what I'm saying? I like.
You really do. You got the Vans on. You're West Coast, man.
I am, dude. No, but
Well, you're looking like you could be part of the rhythm section for the Bad Seeds, or in Grinder Man, or
Two great bands.
New Order, or Killing Joke.
Now you're on, Joy Division, New Order, the Bad Seeds, The Birthday Party.
I just broke down and bought the Love Will Tear Us Apart EP. That Joy Division. That song is fucking genius.
Yeah, totally, man. Have you heard the Roland Howard soul? I mean, the last couple of Roland.
No,
Howard.
I heard that all of that stuff is pretty amazing too.
Yeah, Pop Crime.
See, now all of a sudden, but now we've gone from being a Limey to being an Aussie because you went to the Roland
You like
Howard, who is
Beast Suburban?
Yeah, Beast Suburban are great.
or the Scientists.
The Science. Now we're getting.
Let's. You got the easy beats. Monday I got Friday on my mind.
Yep.
You got AC/DC. How could you not love AC/DC? Just the fuck beat. Boom, bop,
Yeah,
up,
the
down,
fourth-
in, out,
that
up,
fourth
down,
four,
in,
like,
out.
just-
And then you have like, well, there was another band called Masters Apprentices who actually had to go to England to gain a little bit of popularity. And there, of course, is the guys who sing "I'm Stranded" all by myself. I'm stranded.
The Saints.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
the Saints.
Yeah.
Know your product.
The British thing, though, it's like I have a very love-hate relationship with the UK music sort of trip.
Well, that's because of the what? New Musical Express and Melody Maker telling you that Oasis is the greatest thing ever?
This
Or
is going back to like when I was like in high school, junior high school. It's like
would that have been like Genesis?
yeah, Genesis. I do like.
And so you don't like Genesis?
No, I like the early Peter Gabriel stuff. that
Of
Genesis
course.
did. But like when there must be some misunderstanding that from that point on, when Phil Collins.
I don't know how to dance. Or
When he like took center stage is when I
well, see
checked
that
out.
that normally happens when when the drummer becomes the front man.
It's because he
It's
always
fucked.
wants to be the front man because he's stuck in the back.
It's
He doesn't
fucked.
get it. Yeah, man, totally.
No, it's not good.
The Beatles.
Except for Keith Moon.
Well, Keith Moon could hold his own on the level of that he was just out of his mind, going off. People were watching him the whole time. You know what I mean? As well as Daltrey going off. I like the Who. The Beatles. It's unpopular. I know that. I just it never resonated with me. It never really got its hooks into me. The Stones, only a very small period of their career really got me, like that mid period.
I don't understand. I mean, if you're into good songwriting, I don't understand how you could discount the Beatles because they're the greatest
No,
songwriters.
I'm not discounting. I'm saying I just don't personally like the Beatles. I mean,
I got you.
I'm not attacking anyone or saying you shouldn't like the Beatles. I'm saying
I-
I personally don't.
I-
You gotta be careful what you say because not only did I pull the knife out on Dimitri, but he could pull out his knife on you. So
Well, hey, okay. There are certain things, like for instance, and I've done everything in my power because I know I'm supposed to worship the Clash.
or the Replacements.
Right.
Not like the Replacements
Right.
either.
No,
I like
no,
the
no.
Replacements.
Hey, wait a second. I wouldn't go as far as to say dislike or whatever. But
You hate the Replacements.
But I've gone. I've done everything I can to try to see what other people are.
Yeah. Well, I do own Beatles records, and I try hard. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's like after years of being like, you know what? Yeah, let me check this out. It just the timbre of their voices. Man,
Okay,
just doesn't
okay.
get me. I listen to
I
it.
gotcha.
And everyone's telling me how genius they are. And, hey, they're great songwriters. But for me personally,
Yeah.
there's no darkness. There's something about, maybe Helter Skelter,
Yeah.
the White Album. But if I'm going to go there, I'm just going to go to the Doors and get, some real dark,
Sure.
heavy stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's really, what I'm getting at. And a lot of, when I say they're too British, they're too UK, there's, a little bit of that UK thing going on that I just never really got on board with, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that I don't enjoy bands from the UK. I love Joy Division, I love New Order, I love the Smiths, I love Motorhead, Black Sabbath, Discharge, Crass, all those bands are amazing. But there's this,
I understand.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not
too
saying,
poppy. Too poppy.
it's too poppy, but however, I do like pop music though, you know what I mean? But that particular brand of what they do just never really got its hooks into me.
I understand.
Yeah, I like the Replacements and their pop band, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
See, it's taken me a while to arrive at a place where I can, seek out the Clash and the Replacements. I at first, just kind of it didn't click with me.
Right.
But now I've gone deep enough to where I actually want to listen to Let It Be or listen to Sandinista or London Calling or whatever.
You see, like the more reggae influenced stuff, the more dub stuff the Clash did. Like I appreciate that a lot more. I think Bank Robber, like their Bank Robber dub, and like the kind of like the more Paul Simonon style, like ska reggae influence that they had in their music is what really I respond to with the Clash. Like not so much the punk rock style thing, you know what I mean? And but yeah, I mean the Clash are another one of those bands. It's like it's cool, I like it. But it's not, once again, it was something that only certain segments of their career really.
All right, well, I have a question. What about the Sex Pistols?
Don't like them. I mean, I know, once again, not an unpopular thing to say, but I feel like the Ramones and the New York Dolls if they had not existed, the Stooges, if those bands hadn't existed, there'd be no Sex Pistols.
You left out the MC5.
The MC5, once again, sorry about that. But
Never let it happen.
The irony of me not liking the Sex Pistols is the fact that their show in Manchester yielded like one of my favorite all-time bands, Joy Division. I mean, if the reading that I've done is correct, So it's like I don't really like the Sex Pistols per se because it seemed too much of like this like.
They were a show.
Yeah, a show. It was more of a show. There was no like gut reaction, no sort of like. Heart behind it, you know what I mean? But I like Public Image Limited though, I think. And that's the real, maybe John Lydon had to do a band like the Sex Pistols to,
get to
awaken whatever it is inside of himself to do something like PIL. Because that I find, there's like a whole dimension of stuff with Public Image Limited that you can just keep going on and on and on and on with, like different records, they're all changing slightly in different lineups and whatever, But how do you feel about the Sex Pistols?
I prefer them to the Clash.
I prefer the Clash to the Sex Pistols. I prefer the Damned to.
I love the Damned. I love the Damned. They're one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Damned are
Machine Gun Etiquette.
But I like the Beatles better than all of those bands.
See, the Beatles are my favorite band of all time.
Yeah, that's
so and I do think there's a darkness there. I would encourage you to explore them deeper and find that.
Well, getting back to the Clash and what you were talking about, my favorite Clash period was the punk rock period. See, what happened with the Clash was they started to show all of their influence, the Motown and the Stax and the reggae, ska, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of American rhythm and blues, Southern rhythm and blues. But the problem with the Clash was that they signed a record deal for 10 records.
Oh yeah, that's.
And as they went along, they were finding out that the record company wasn't that cool, and that they probably got in a little bit over their heads. And towards the end, when they were doing like 3 discs in a record, cut the crap, and towards the end, it was just like most of that stuff wasn't even listenable. My favorite Clash record is Give 'Em Enough Rope. I saw them on that tour. They came out, they started with Tommy Gun, and it was like fucking all over. Like, we're here, you're there, pay attention, or we're gonna fucking kick you in the face.
See, I never had the chance to see the Clash. That's what I think maybe.
And they were amazing. And I saw the Sex Pistols, and it was like they turned Sid Vicious. It was all about Paul Cook's kick pedal covering the bass line because Sid Vicious could barely stand up. It was like, it was like, it's just a spectacle is what that was.
Are there any new bands that you're really excited about? Is there anything?
Oh, there's lots of new bands I'm really excited.
I'm just curious as to get a feel for.
Well, it's funny that I listen to a lot of like metal. I was gonna ask. A lot of real like
black metal.
Yeah, I love black metal. I mean, stuff like Emperor. I like Gorgoroth a lot. 1349.
Who's the guy that killed his killed the guy in the opposing band and ate his brains and then set fire to the church. And
Well, there's a group of guys that know all that.
Varg
Varg Vikernes, that Varg.
Dimmu Borgir.
Oh, see, now that's like the Marilyn Manson of black metal.
Oh, okay. See, I'm
Yeah, I mean,
But you like Bathory and
Yeah, the old
Dark Throne.
Dark Throne. Well, Bathory, that's like the Venom, Bathory, Celtic Frost, like that kind of stuff.
No, it's Celtic Frost.
Is it, or is it Celtic or
With
Celtic?
King Diamond, what did you think about King Diamond?
Yeah, like Merciful Fate's cool. I like Merciful Fate, probably over the solo King Diamond stuff.
Yeah, but then what about Judas Priest and Iron
Dude, I
Maiden?
like that stuff. That's what I actually grew up listening to, like Priest, Sabbath, and the first Sabbath I heard was the Ronnie James Dio Sabbath. And I remember I heard Heaven and Hell.
Well, what about Rainbow? Did you
It's
know?
like the first Sabbath I heard was Heaven and Hell. And I was like, this is awesome. And then like my friend Byron had all the early Sabbath records because his older brother Tom was like, a little older than us, and he had all this stuff, in his room. So he played and he was like, oh, you like Heaven and Hell? Check this out. And he put on We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll. The song Black Sabbath fucking terrified me, dude. I was like 12 years old and I just heard that like, and I was like, what the fuck is this, dude? This is
Well, that's off their first album. What is this that stands before me?
Yeah, man.
Figure in Black.
Yeah.
Coming at me.
And then the Ozzy era, those first 4 Sabbath records, I realized like, yeah, the Dio stuff's cool, like on a technical, like rock
He
level.
doesn't even compare to Ozzy Osbourne.
He does it on the first 4 records. Ozzy, later on, maybe, like the vocals,
No, all of that Ozzy solo stuff is
Yeah.
ridiculously
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
No, give me the first 4
Yeah, the first
Black
4.
Sabbath albums and we'll call it a day.
Unstoppable, dude. If I was like, that will fuck you up, the first 4 Sabbath records. And to this day. But can you imagine how that
What
sounded?
do you think about Grand Funk? Did you listen to any American? What about Blue Oyster Cult?
Oh, dude, Blue Oyster. I never really got into Grand Funk, but BOC I liked a lot. They were sick. I thought,
So what
Fire
period of
Emblem.
Stones did you like?
I like the Brian Jones version of the band. That middle.
Did you like any of the Mick Taylor stuff? Did you like Gimme Shelter? Did you like...
I liked it, but I preferred like that sort of Brian Jones.
See, because Grand Funk do a cover of Gimme Shelter and they do an amazing version of Gimme Shelter.
I have to check out. I have to get more familiar with Grand Funk because that's a band I kind of slept on a little bit.
Yeah.
Frankly,
So going back to newer bands.
Oh, newer bands. Okay. Well, it's a newer band, but it features an old dude in it. It's a Triptychon record. It's got Tom Warrior, Tom Fisher from Celtic Frost, sorry. And it's I just saw them like recently, and they're pretty intense. Newer bands. So I don't know. I was about to lie.
Could we get out of the metal genre?
Oh, we were just talking about metal.
I know we would.
Well, I'm curious.
But we need to move into a more wider open space.
All right.
Do you like Vampire Weekend?
No,
Do you
jeez,
like?
I don't like Vampire.
No, we need to talk about all of the
Black Heart Procession.
all of the trust fund bands.
Mario
out
played
there.
in Black Heart Procession.
Dude, I know. I'm well aware of that, dude. Black Heart Procession are another band that blew my mind when I saw them play. I've seen them play about 3 or 4 times. The first time there was a 3-piece, very stripped down, and I was like, I had never heard of them before, and I was.
Mario's here. You want me to grab him?
Sure, man. That'd be great. But Black Heart Procession, once again, a band that
So you like all of the darker, uglier, take me into the shadows and
I wouldn't say
kick
that.
my face in and leave me in a puddle of piss behind the dumpster in the alleyway kind of stuff.
That's not what Black Heart Procession sounds like, though.
I've heard some of their stuff that has it seemed like it was somebody gets shot and stabbed and tossed into the trunk of a car and driven
All right, what
100
about
miles away.
I also
buried
like
in the desert.
Pinback. I like Pinback too, and Pinback is way more like Hi, how are you?
Mario.
Nice to meet you.
All right, what's your name?
Mike.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Vegan.
Yeah, we were just talking about Black Heart Procession, and my admiration for Black Heart Procession. But Pinback is not a negative band. It's they're like there's out of like the 3 Mile Pilot era. There's like Black Heart Procession and Pinback. Pinback's a happier band. I don't know, because Keith's saying that I like more. He's trying to trying to pin me down as like the
Yeah,
negative.
see, he's
bum
trying to
out.
call us a punk rock hardcore
was-
band, and I'm
dude.
trying to accuse him of being Mr. Dark Guy.
Oh man. And first of all, I didn't say you guys were a all hardcore punk band. Right? I came into this thing saying I enjoyed the record because it's a record, and I approached it like any other record I would get. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter, the personnel made it interesting to me because all you guys were bands I
You
liked.
see, Mario and I, out of the four of us, by far appreciate, darker, borderline metal music. Like he turned me on to like Bathory and Dark Throne.
Yeah.
Like he's way into that stuff.
Right. Yeah, and it's that's not all I listen to though. Like Keith's trying to nail me to the floor. Oh yeah, this guy's like the dark guy. The dude who's like.
But you
dressed
told
in
me
black.
you kind of steered towards that. Like
Oh, I
that's
do.
why you don't
No,
like
I
the-
do, but I'm not. I don't discount anything that's not like necessarily a bummer. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I enjoy like the bum out vibe, and but there's also some lighter stuff that I appreciate.
I want to curl up and get into the fetal position and roll myself into the corner and
Well,
turn off
it's-
all of the lights and
Well, once again though, man, it's like I'm a middle class guy.
listen
right?
to all of the sirens going off.
But on a sociological level, it's like I'm a middle class guy, right? The middle class is obsessed with darkness. I mean, it's like you look at like someone from the third world, like their art is like bright, it's more celebratory.
Yeah, but you also have to understand if you're in a third world country, you're usually in a place where there is a lot of sunlight, which makes the palette brighter.
Interesting. So you would think so.
You had that period of painting going on in Holland where everything was like brown and gray and dark, and you go to Holland and where the fuck is the sunlight?
Yeah,
how
but
did,
then-
how did the tulips
But
grow?
then, it's always sunny in LA, and look at how he turned out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was even you took the words right out to me.
Yeah, but I'm surrounded
LA.
by a fire station, so there's always emergency sirens going on. I'm underneath the flight path to 4 different hospitals,
Yeah.
so I always have those helicopters flying over. I'm at one of the busiest intersections in Southern California, so there's always some kind of wreck and
Yeah, some
debris laying
drama going
about.
on. Yeah.
Body gruels.
Yeah, we actually had a guy shoot another guy in an act of road rage. Plus, we have Vons Supermarket, and that whole thing is pretty depressing and pathetic.
But I guess what I'm trying to
You ever
say
shop
is,
at
like,
Vons?
No, I usually stay away from I'm familiar with Vons Supermarket. But what I'm trying to say though is, you're bum out. But the middle class, man, you don't have like that you don't have real things to concern your survival like someone. So the more trivial things in life have more weight. Like you don't have a life and death struggle to deal with. You know what I mean? In this country, for the most part. Where I'm I'm talking specifically for solid middle class background. You grew up.
Because you're too busy working to not think about those things, or
Well, it's like a little bit more esoteric than that. I think it's like I'm talking specifically about like the middle class's obsession with like dark subject matter in music and art and whatever. Like if you remove like if you're someone who grew up in a ghetto, right? You're on welfare. You have issues of like, drugs, gang violence, whatever, and typically the art, the music is more of a sort of celebratory sort of trip. You know what I'm saying? Like people want money, they want to get laid, they want to get wasted, they want to sort of gravitate more towards something that's a little bit less emotionally heavy because their scenario is like heavy. If you're a middle class guy, you come from parents, they're both married. You don't want for money necessarily. You have opportunity for education, and all that sort of stuff is sort of handed to you. So the more emotional aspects of life, I think, move to the forefront. So you're easily more. I think you're more bummed. You get more bummed out on certain.
So that's why we were like renting Faces of Death when we were a
That's
kid,
right.
and like going to see Friday the
Totally.
13th Part 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like you know, like Faces of Death, you know, Dawn of the Dead, that kind of trip, you know, listening to the first 4 Sabbath records, you know, you have, I mean, it's just a theory, you know, that's something that I'm kind of like working with, you know, since we just like, you know, threw it out there and I was being pegged as the bum out sort of guy, you know what I mean?
Bummer, dude. Bummer.
I like that about you. So don't change.
No, dude, I'm not, it's too late for me
Dude,
to
don't
change.
bum my high.
Don't go to the tattoo removal
Oh hell,
place.
man. No. It's too late for me to change. Like I'm already like past that like halfway point in my life. So it's like you can't really like backtrack to the other shoreline. You got to continue moving forward. You know.
Are there any other questions you want to ask us? Because if not, I'd like to give you
I'll
this.
do that.
This
Dude,
is-
you could have given that to him even if he had more questions to ask.
No, but because Brooklyn Vegan has been so cool to us, and because you're obviously such a fan of, you know, especially where Keith comes from, we'd like you to have that.
Well, thank you very much.
They're all completely sold out.
I appreciate that,
but
dude.
That's for you.
Wow. That means a lot to me. Man.
And don't say that we never did anything for you, or you know, any favors or anything like that.
Hey man, I wouldn't expect any favors, man. This is just a really solid, nice thing to do, and I appreciate it. It's pretty sweet, man.
It's got a poster inside,
Wow.
and the pressing sold out in like a day. There's no more. I mean, we have a few to sell at the show tonight, but I just want to make sure you got one. So
Yeah, just you know, just like the whole trip, man. Is like, you know, I'm real excited about this. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I wasn't sure if
Well,
I'd
that's
be able
good
to
that
get-
you're excited about it because I'm like Shrivel. Raging Slab had a song called Shrivel.
Are you? Was that another one of those New York bands that you
Yeah.
were talking about?
Actually, yes. Yes. They were the same time as Circus of Power.
Yep.
nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. I'll see you guys tonight then, definitely, man. Yeah.
Dude, you didn't even get to talk to
Well,
him.
in this thing, man.
Oh, you were in your dark stuff.
Hey, man, I was defending myself, man. Thanks a lot.
Beverly Hills, Century City, everything's so nice and pretty. All the people look the same. Don't they know they're so damn lame? There she goes.